Hi, Isabel. I'm going to read you a story this afternoon. And it comes from a book called Tales of the Green Hedges. And the story's called Poor Little Sparrow. Every morning, Ronnie and Sylvia put out crumbs for the birds and a little bowl of water. The birds always knew when the children were going to throw out the food, and they came flocking down to wait. Chirrup, chirrup, said all the sparrows, dressed in brown. Trilly, trilly, sang the robin in his creamy voice. Fizz, splutter, wee, chattered the starlings in their funny voices. Pink, pink, shouted the pink-chested chaffinch. Aren't they lovely, said the children, as they threw out the crumbs and some crusts from the toast. They really are friendly little things. The children knew all the birds, though it was difficult to tell one sparrow from another. They knew the smallest one of them, though, because he had one white feather on his tail, and that made him look rather queer. One day the little sparrow flew down with the others, but it couldn't seem to stand on the ground properly. It fell over, then tried to stand upright again, and then fell over again. Look at the poor little sparrow, said Sylvia, who was very tender-hearted. What's the matter with it? It can't stand. It's hurt its leg, said Ronnie. Oh, Sylvia, I can't believe its leg is broken. Can you see? Sylvia went slowly closer to the birds. They did not mind, for they trusted the two children. Oh, Ronnie, you're right, she said. Its leg is broken in two. Whatever are we going to do? Now the poor little sparrow had that morning been caught by a cat and had managed to get away. Its little leg had been broken, and the tiny creature did not know why it could not stand up properly. It had joined the other birds as usual for breakfast, but it couldn't eat, and it fell over. So it fell over and lay on the grass, its eyes closed. Sylvia picked it up gently and put its soft little head against her cheek. Poor little sparrow, she said. It says in the Bible that God sees every sparrow that falls, so I expect he saw you too, and hoped that I would pick you up. Well, I have, but I don't know what to do to make you better. But Mother knew. As soon as she saw the little bird, she took out the old empty canary cage and put the sparrow onto some clean sand at the bottom of the cage. It's had a shock, said Mother. It will come awake presently and it'll be all right. Oh, look, its leg is broken. How can we mend it, said Sylvia. Well, said Mother, if we break our legs, the doctor sets the bone in the right position and then ties it to something that will keep it straight until the broken bone joins together and grows properly again. So what we can do is tie the sparrow's tiny leg to keep it straight. A match, cried Ronnie, and he emptied some out of the box. That's a good idea, said Mother, and she gently picked up the sparrow, whose eyes were still closed, and laid it on the table. Then she tried to set the poor little leg straight. With strands of silk she fastened the matchstick to the thin, small leg. It looked very peculiar, but now the broken leg was straight again. Oh, Mother, said Sylvia joyfully, you've done so nicely. When the bone joins again, the leg will be quite all right, won't it? I hope so, said Mother, putting the sparrow into the cage and shutting the door. We shall keep the tiny thing in here and feed it until the leg is quite right, and then I shall go and free it again. When the sparrow opened its eyes, it was surprised to find itself in a cage. Its leg felt very strange, but now it no longer fell over because the matchstick supported it, and the little bird flew to a perch and chirruped. Ronnie gave it some seed, Sylvia gave it a mixture of potato and breadcrumbs, and the sparrow was simply delighted. It had a little dish of water for a bath and another dish to drink from. There's a picture of it. There's the little bird with the matchstick on its leg. Can you see that? At first it fluttered its wings against the bars of the cage to get out, for it hated not being free, but as it did not feel very well, it soon gave up struggling and sat contentedly on a perch, feeding and bathing whenever it wanted to. The leg healed quickly. It was marvellous to see. The skin joined nicely, and the broken bones seemed to grow together at once. I think we might let our little sparrow fly away now, said Mother one day. I'm sure its leg is all right. Are you going to take the matchstick off now? Asked Sylvia. Yes, said Mother. So she took hold of the half-frightened bird and carefully and gently took away the silk binding from the leg and the match. The match fell off. The little leg was as straight and strong as ever. We've mended its leg, shouted the children in delight. You aren't a poor little sparrow any more. Fly away, fly away." The sparrow gave a chirp and flew straight out of the window. How glad it was to be out of the cage. It flew into the trees, chirped so loudly that all the other sparrows came round to hear what it had to say. Now you would not think that a small sparrow could possibly help the children in anything, would you? Yet a few weeks later a very strange thing happened. Ronnie and Sylvia had some glass marbles, the prettiest thing you ever saw. They were blue and green and pink, and had queer little lines curving through them. Ronnie and Sylvia were very proud of them, for they had belonged to their daddy. "You can't get marbles like these nowadays," said Daddy, "so take care of them." Well, Ronnie and Sylvia took them to play with in the fields, and there they met David, another boy who the children didn't like very much. When he saw the marbles, he came up. "Give me those," he said, "and I'll give you these reins of mine." "No, thank you," said Ronnie, gathering his marbles up quickly, but he wasn't quick enough, and David grabbed some of them and ran off laughing. Sylvia and Ronnie went after him. "They're our marbles," said Ronnie. "Give them back." "I'll put them somewhere and you can take them," called back David. And what do you suppose he did with them? He dropped them into a hole in a tree, and then he ran off laughing. Ronnie and Sylvia ran to the tree. They tried to slip their small hands into the hole, but they couldn't. The hole was too small. "We can't get our marbles out," said Sylvia. "They're gone. Oh, that horrid boy." "Chirrup," said a little voice near them. The children looked up, and there it was their sparrow. They knew it was the same one because of the white feather in its tail. "I wish you could get our marbles," sighed Ronnie. "Your foot is quite small enough to go into the hole, Sparrow." "Chirrup," said the sparrow, and what do you think he did? Why, he flew into the hole, and instead of putting in his foot, he put the whole of himself into it. Yes, he quite disappeared into that little hole, but not for long. He popped up again, head first, and in his beak he held a green marble. He dropped it onto the ground and disappeared into the hole once more. Up he came with a blue marble this time. The children were so astonished that they didn't even pick up the marbles. The sparrow fetched every single marble out of the hole before he flew off with a last cheerful chirrup. Then the children picked them up and went racing home to tell Mother the strange and lovely happening. "How very extraordinary," said Mother. "It must be put into a story, for everyone will love to read about the poor little sparrow that did such a kind thing. It just shows what friends can make. If only we are kind to even the smallest..." Sorry, read that again. "It just shows what friends we can make, if only we are kind to even the smallest things." So here is the story. I do hope you enjoyed it, and will know what to do if you come across a bird with a little broken leg. And that's a picture of the sparrow with a marble in its mouth. And that is the end of the story. So I'm going to stop now. And just to tell you, the next story I can read another day is called The Dormouse and the Fairy. So we'll save that one up.